So in the second part here, what I wanted to talk about is there's an initiative here in Ohio to go to a flat tax. You've heard a lot of talk about getting rid of the income tax altogether. And the first step in that journey is to get us down to just one tax bracket. We actually only have two right now. So if you make more than $100,000, you pay a higher tax rate than if you make less than $100,000. They're talking about taking it down to a flat tax of 2.75, which is what most people in Ohio pay already. I'm actually a fan of the idea of let's take it down to 2.5 so everybody gets a tax break. I think that'd be an easier thing to sell instead of just reducing the over 100K tax rate. I think that'd be an easier sell. But I wanted to get Adam up here. Adam Bowling, come on up from AFP. He's been following this fairly closely. So in addition to talking about the flat tax in Ohio, I wanted to say a couple of words about the big, beautiful bill. Not a fan of the alliteration. It doesn't really run off the lips there. But the problem we're having there is they've incorporated the tax cuts, and I understand they made them permanent, if I remember. So the idea there is we're going to get the tax cuts from the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. That'll be permanent. But there's no cuts in the bill. So the spending, they're going to raise the debt limit by $4 trillion. That's $T trillion. But the budget itself is up $3.5 trillion. So they've already spent almost all of what they raised the debt ceiling to. So where is AFP? Where are you at? How are you looking at the problem with what's going on in the budget at the federal level? And then let's talk a little bit about the state level.
Yeah, so we want to see the big, beautiful bill passed through the Senate. We're very thankful for all the hard work that we've done around the country, getting our congressmen and women involved and getting the big, beautiful bill passed through the House. It's not a perfect bill. I don't think anyone thinks that it's a perfect bill. But we do know with a reconciliation bill, we have an opportunity where we just have to get it across the finish line with the small margins that we have. And so since we have that opportunity with reconciliation, we want to see this bill cross the finish line through the Senate. Now that it's in the Senate hands, I know that they've had some concerns about spending, making the DOGE cuts permanent.
That would be fantastic.
Right. And we want to see Trump keep his promises. We want to see Americans have the relief and have the comfort of knowing that next year they're not going to have a huge tax hike. This country is finally on the upswing.
I think that's extremely evident at this point.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing energy prices go down. We're seeing grocery prices go down. And the last thing our country needs right now is a huge tax hike. So is it perfect? No. Is it better than status quo? Yes. And a lot of the things they don't talk about is what's going to happen when these tax cuts are made permanent, and you're going to see more investment. You're going to see more money in more people's pockets, so they'll be spending. So it's a great opportunity for Trump to keep his promises, for this country to keep going on the economic upswing that it's going, and so we want to see it pass through the Senate and become law, and no one have to worry about a $2,000 tax hike next year.
And the interesting thing is, I think what we're seeing with the prices coming down, I mean, gas was under $3 again this week. It keeps going up and down, but eggs are $4 now.
$2.50 with coupon.
You gotta clip those coupons. I go up to the farmer at the top of the street. Anyway, I think we're seeing the game plan is working. Trump is this time around, he's taking no prisoners. He's not allowing the rhino establishment into his cabinet, which I think is fantastic. I saw the appointment of Judge Jeanine Pirro today. That was fantastic. So everybody was concerned about his tariffs. I think we're finding that the art of the deal is real. He goes in big. He gets the people to compromise in the middle, and everybody else is better off for it. So I'm hoping that we can make what happened with DOGE permanent. I think Musk got a little frustrated. I think any engineer that's used to getting things done gets frustrated by the government. It's just impossible to get anything done. So I think I feel better about what's happening in D.C. as far as they are making progress. You can see where the mainstream guys are trying to slow things down, but I hope Trump continues to steamroll them.
Yeah, and I think once you see some of these things that are being talked about on here in the state level, but also on a national level, we'll talk about REINS Act tonight. But if you see the REINS Act be enacted nationally at the federal level, you're going to see a lot of red tape and over-regulating, and a lot of those what Doge things actually be law. Because REINS won't allow those kind of things. So we just have to keep. And there we have Congresswoman Kat Comack in Florida and Senator Mike Lee in Utah are both big proponents of the REINS Act. Mike
Lee last night posted a bunch of stuff on X about going after getting some decent cuts inside that bill. So we are hopeful.
And AFP's, the way we look at it is get the big, beautiful bill passed, and then let's get these let's get these cuts to the government and get these over-regulations under control through these other bills.
So there's two things there. One is getting rid of the regulation means more money getting to do actual work. So that's always good. The second thing is I've never seen a tax cut result in decreased revenue. In other words, when you reduce the tax rates, the money goes into productive things, and in the end, they actually collect more money. And I wish the Republicans were stronger at making that point that, hey, you look at this tax cut as it's going to cost us $1 trillion. And the answer is no. It's probably going to make you $2 trillion because now money's getting invested. People have got the money and they can get better jobs. They get paid more for doing the work they're doing. Yep. And it always goes up. I've never seen it go down. The Laffer curve still works.
It's undefeated. And there has never been a time in human history or a government or community in human history that has taxed themselves into prosperity.
That's right.
The only way that you gain more prosperity for your community, for your country, is to have more money in more people's pockets, and you do that through taking less taxes. We as a country, we as a state, we as a community, like you just said about Hamilton County, we're overtaxed.
Yes.
Taxation is not the problem. It's not that they're not getting enough money. It's that they're spending too much money. And so if we can get them out of our wallets, then you'll see the prosperity. You'll see an economic boom like we haven't seen in our time.
I think that's absolutely. So let's go talk about Columbus. I think everybody's aware of how corrupt and destructive Washington, D.C. is. We're here to tell you that Columbus is infinitely worse. Columbus is filled with swamp rats that will not get out of our way for just about anything. So let's talk about a couple of things. We were going to talk about the REINS Act in Ohio, which REINS is a way to, I can never remember the acronym.
Yeah, so it's regulations from the executive needed scrutiny. So it's REINS as in like reining in, not rains as in raindrops.
So when Amy Acton and Mike DeWine say we're going to shut down schools, churches, and you got to stay in your house for 15 days to flatten the curve, we've got the legislative chutzpah to say, no, you can't do that.
Yeah, so, we elect our state reps, we elect our state senators, and we elected our governor. And so we want them to go to Columbus to on our behalf, to speak for us. And so when a law gets passed or a bill gets passed, we don't want to see that bill get put in the hands of bureaucrats and three-letter agencies where they can say, think of any law or any bill that you know is a good bill, like school choice. School choice gets passed, and now families have the opportunity to send their child to the school of their choice. But then the bureaucrats get a hold of it, and they say, well, to do school choice right, we need this whole Department of Education, and we need these 30 field officers to make sure everything's going well, and we need all these testing. And this thing that was going to be like, $8,000 per family now ends up being a multi-million-dollar hit to the budget because of all this bureaucracy and red tape. So what we're saying, what REINS says is no. If this is the way you're going to implement that, it needs to go back to the House and be voted on, and then back to the Senate and voted on, and then back to the governor and signed into law. And that way we have a voice because our elected officials are actually making that determination. And so once a bill gets put into law, if it has a financial burden of over $100,000, I believe, it gets put back into the House and to the Senate to be voted on.
And so to explain how things work in Columbus, HB 11 was written, we're going guns-ho on trying to get rains in Ohio, and it's been sandbagged. It got stopped.
It's currently on life support. So if you guys could have your voices heard, call your local state, or call Speaker Huffman. Call Speaker Huffman. Let him know that you want to see the RAINS Act be acted in Ohio. You want to see HB 11 passed. You want to see rains in Ohio. You want to see. You don't want to see regulation without representation here in our state. So we want to see HB 11. We want to see the RAINS Act. We want to see the end of red tape and bureaucracy here in our state.
So the other thing going on in Columbus is the flat tax for income tax.
Yep.
Which, like I said,
SB3.
Is on its way to eliminating the tax, which Vivek has already said that he's in favor of eliminating the income tax.
Yep.
But this is sort of the first step. Senate Bill 3, our local senator is not supporting it, I understand. Oh, he is.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Bill Blessing is.
I don't think Bill Blessing is. I think my senator, George Lang, is actually the sponsor of it. So he's definitely on board.
And there's the difference,
yes,
right?
Yeah,
Again, Southwest Ohio gets the shank. So we do have up here, we have letters addressed already to Bill with the explanations what you're just talking about with supporting the RAINS Act, supporting the flat tax. Get up here and sign it.
Alyssa, can you stand up and wave real quick? This is Alyssa Baker. She's also with Americans for Prosperity. Please come up and say hi to her. She handles our young professionals here in the state. So if you know anyone who maybe is in college or a young professional who wants to be active and get involved in politics, please introduce them to Alyssa. She's dynamic. She's awesome. She's a firecracker. She's going across the state getting young people involved.
So cool.
Yep.
So we've got that. We also have here the Liberty Line, which, believe it or not, is a working phone. And we've got a script here. So after the meeting, during the meeting, I'm inviting everyone to come up. You can dial Bill Blessing or Lou Blessing so that he can get elected, so he uses his father's name. And just read the script.
Yep.
And it'll be left, and he'll hear your message to him from the farm tonight. So please come on up afterwards.
Yep. We want to see the flat tax, a flat tax of 2.75% across the board. Not only will that encourage people to either move into the state or stay into the state because of a better tax system, it encourages our government to be better with our budget, knowing that they have less revenue coming in and knowing that the state has to have a balanced budget. They have to do a better job of spending and knowing where this money is going. So a flat tax not only does it boost the economy, it puts more money in people's pocket. It doges the.
It forces them to reduce spending.
It does. It forces the government to doge their spending. It makes Ohio a more attractive state for people to work, live, and play and stay in. And so we want to see a flat tax here in Ohio in the governor's budget. We want to see Senate Bill 3 passed. The Liberty Line is out tonight. It's a working phone. You can come up. The Blessings number is right here. Just read the script. We also have letters to Senator Blessing. Really, you just sign your name and at the bottom of and I will personally mail them to Columbus and make sure he gets them.
Excellent. Well, thank you. We'll talk about a little bit more during the meeting, and if you got any questions, we'll get to them then.
Thanks, Adam. Thanks for having me, guys. It's always a blessing to be with you guys.